Who is Chenrezig? Hi, my name's Ben, and this video is going to try and answer that question. Now, very often it's said that Chenrezig is the deity or the god of compassion in Tibetan Buddhism. And that is true as far as it goes. But, as with so many things in Tibetan Buddhism, there's a lot more to it. There are lots of different levels to Chenrezig, lots of different ways to understand Chenrezig. The first way is the ultimate Chenrezig, and ultimate Chenrezig is compassion. So ultimate Chenrezig is the desire for other beings not to suffer. And as you can imagine, that ultimate Chenrezig is in all of us. We all have compassion. Tibetan Buddhism is very, very clear. Every single person, every single being, not just people, but animals as well, ultimately has the Buddha nature. And part of the Buddha nature is compassion. We all have compassion, or at least we all have the potential for compassion. And that compassion is the ultimate Chenrezig. So on a very ultimate level, and it may be hard to realise, it may be hard to believe, but on a very ultimate level, I'm Chenrezig, you're Chenrezig, everyone's Chenrezig. So that's the ultimate Chenrezig, compassion, the desire for beings not to suffer. And it's not just the desire for some beings not to suffer, it's the desire for all beings not to suffer. It is complete and total compassion. Then there's the relative Chenrezig. Now, the relative Chenrezig is a being who you will often see depicted in the tankas, that is the Tibetan paintings, and you'll often see him depicted as a being with 4 arms or with 1,000 arms. But either way, he's usually depicted as snow white, has various ornaments and so on. That relative Chenrezig is a being who eons and eons and eons ago made a very, very powerful vow to help other beings. In other words, generated immense compassion, total compassion. And over the course of many eons, he has helped and continues to help billions and billions of beings, particularly practitioners who invoke him. Now, there's a very interesting story about the relative Chenrezig. He made this very, very strong aspiration, a vow, to help all beings. And he said, if I ever break this vow, may my head and body burst into 1,000 pieces. So he said, it's so important that I keep this vow. If I don't, I want to be blown to smithereens, effectively. And he laboured for many, many eons to help many, many billions of beings. And one day he thought to himself, okay, I want to see how I'm doing. So he used his, if you like, third eye, his wisdom eye, to perceive samsara, that is, ordinary cyclic existence where ordinary beings reside. And he saw that samsara was still full. Despite everything he'd done, despite all his billions of years of effort, samsara was still full. And he thought, I'll give up. It's too much. Not much I can do. It's obviously not working. I'll give up. That contradicted his vow, and he burst into 1,000 pieces. Fortunately, Amitabha, who's the Buddha of infinite light, came and picked up Chenrezig, or the pieces of Chenrezig, and put him back together again, in such a way that he was able to help even more beings. So that's a really interesting story about Chenrezig. One, it shows that very often people who have a compassionate aspiration do have doubts, or do have hesitations about fulfilling their aspiration. The second thing is it shows us and it reminds us to just keep going. So that's the relative Chenrezig, this being who generated ultimate compassion. And the third way of understanding Chenrezig, or another way of understanding Chenrezig, is the mantra. So as with all Tibetan Buddhist deities, the mantra of the deity is the deity. It is sort of vibrationally, energetically connected to the deity. The mantra of Chenrezig is Om Mani Padme Hum. Sometimes you'll see written Om Mani Padme Hum. And it can be hum or it can be hung at the end. It doesn't matter which. Both are equally as powerful. And the mantra of Chenrezig is just another way of saying the name of Chenrezig. So Om is the way all mantras start, and hung is the way most mantras end. Mani means jewel, and Peme or Padme means lotus. So the mantra really means the jewel in the lotus. And this is another way of saying Chenrezig's name, because the relative Chenrezig, according to the story, was found in a lotus. He was born, as it were, from a lotus. So that's the third way of understanding Chenrezig, is as the mantra. Now, they have a little saying about this mantra in Tibet. No difficulty in learning it, no pride in knowing it, no danger of forgetting it. So let's unpack that a little bit. No difficulty in learning it. A lot of mantras are quite long, a lot of teachings can be quite complex, quite intellectual. The mantra of Chenrezig is 6 syllables. You will know it already just from watching this video. So it's a great teaching because it's so accessible. Second, no pride in knowing it. Some teachings take a lot of effort to understand. Some are very complex, some require a huge amount of intelligence, some require great study. 6-syllable mantra, everybody knows. You know it just from watching this video. So there's no pride in knowing it. Some of those other teachings, whilst they're very useful, they can allow us and encourage us to become proud. And if we become proud, we are building up the ego, not challenging the ego. Buddhism wants us to challenge the ego, not build it up further. So that's no pride in knowing it. Everybody knows it. There's no way we can get sort of, on our high horse about knowing it or pretend we're better than anyone else. Third, very simple, no danger of forgetting it. It's very, very difficult to forget 6 syllables, all right? So that's the mantra, very easy to learn, very good to know, and very hard to become proud about, and also very hard to forget. So those are the 3 ways of understanding Chenrezig that I'm going to talk about in this video. The ultimate Chenrezig, which is total compassion. The relative Chenrezig, who's this being who's actualized total compassion, and the mantra. Now the important thing to understand is that these 3 are inseparably the same. They are the same thing, they're just different aspects. And this is a quality of the Buddhas, that they manifest in different ways at different times, on different levels, so that different beings can understand them. I hope this video has been useful. If you like it, please click the like and subscribe buttons, and I'll see you next time. Thank you very much.